interesting banter going on about Felix Afena-Gyan. So the word initially came that he had rejected a call-up to play with the under-23 team during the 2 qualifiers against Algeria. Well, the FA have responded to this in terms of the management committee chairman of the Meteors team he says, Frederick Achi, and I'm quote Frederick Achampong, he says that it is not true that Felix was given a last-minute call-up to the team. He says it is not true. He says, in fact, Felix was one of the first players on their list, and they were told to write to their clubs early in order that players like Afena-Gyan would be allowed by their clubs to come and represent Ghana. So the FA clearly states that as far as Afena-Gyan is concerned, it was not about a late call-up. It was not about anything. There was no conspiracy involved. He was invited, and his agent stated emphatically that the player was not ready. Let's listen to Frederick Achampo. We'll come back in studio. We'll make some sense of it.
AfenaGyan's invitation was not late because I've followed a lot of discussions in the media landscape, and people suggesting that the FA handed him a late call-up after they were called from Ghanaians. No. In fact, AfenaGyan was one of the first foreign-based players we invited. The president of the Ghana Football Association spoke to me personally and told me that I should get my technical team to, present the foreign-based players they will require for this engagement early enough so that we can work on them in terms of writing letters to their clubs for the invitation and working out their tickets and visas, because we're going to travel to a foreign country. And so AfenaGyan was one of the first players that the coach spoke to, because when the coach draws out such a list, the first thing he does is to speak to the players and tell them his plans and the decision to invite them to participate in that particular game. So the coach spoke to him personally. I mean, long before, for instance, we invited Salim Adams, long before we invited Ernest Nuyama. So he was one of the first players the coach spoke to. And following up to the conversation between him and the coach, his manager called him. And the coach tells me the manager called him maybe not less than twice, 2-3 times, and told him emphatically that the guy was not ready.
That is the word or the official position of the FA. They say there's no conspiracy. Afena-Gyan and his camp say that he was not ready. Nathan, let me start with you on this note. What have you made of this particular issue? What do you think Felix needs to do? I think that his national team career is in danger if he continues on this tangent. This is purely what I think. What do you make of it?
I was quite surprised to hear that, he had turned down the call-up, and, then I heard from the FA side that he had been invited quite early. This is what I think. Now, Felix Afena-Gyan, he's a player with promise. But I also think he needs to understand something. I think the World Cup snub is still in his system.
They are acting on it.
Listen.
Of course.
And
if you not take an under-19 player, when you needed help, you brought him to help the team.
You see, this is what I will say. I can understand how Afena-Gyan feels about this. But I also feel that this was another opportunity to maybe remind the national team selectors that I still have value to give. And it's good for his own development and education as a player. Because you come and play this qualifier, Ghana makes it through, you will definitely get a chance to play in the under-23 AFCON. And that is an opportunity for you. Now, assuming Ghana even qualifies for the Olympics, that is still an opportunity for you to go and show something, to build your own confidence, to tell the people at Cremonese how good you are, and remind the national team selectors once again that you are still an option. So if I look at it objectively, I don't know how all parties allowed this matter to degenerate to this point where we are now accusing each other of sending call-ups late and somebody didn't get the call-up, somebody didn't get that call-up. Whatever issues there are concerning the World Cup, I can kind of understand. But I feel that there's a long future ahead of both Afena-Gyan and the Black Stars, and they can always meet at a point. So I think that the players' management, if there were issues, they could have spoken to the FA. Probably should have spoken to Ibrahim Tanko, away from everybody, and says, okay, this, that, and that, and that. Tanko might probably give him a few assurances here and there, whatever issues they are, hash it out. Because you see, for a player, once you get called up by your country to go and feature, I feel it's an honor. I feel it's a chance, especially for him, Afena-Gyan, and the position he's in, where he wants to make an impression, where he wants to develop, I would have taken this chance. I would have said, you know what? Let me go and play these qualifiers. These guys are my age mates. Probably will give me confidence. And you can build from there.
And to be fair, Afena-Gyan has not even been playing that much for Cremonese. He barely gets game time. 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
That may have played into his reason to decline the call-up. That he feels that if you look at Cremonese, there's not a lot of international players there. So during this
I'll make a statement
international break, I'm sure a lot they'll be staying and training. Look, they are last. They are going to be.
That's also fair.
What about those people who say that your national team is a good chance to remind your club how good you are?
But the coach has to see you on the training ground and see how you fit. My thing about this is, if truly he was called on time and he told them early that he would rather not come,
that's fine.
Why did they not go and collect? Why did they not go and call another player? I think even if he rejected the call-up, I think the GFA has misbehaved in a way. They've set him up for slander.
Sure.
Because
in what sense?
In the sense that we know that if you don't show up, we know how Ghanaians are going to react. The GFA, they are not naive. They know this. If you know that he's rejected the call-up, he's not interested in coming, he's told you in advance. He's giving you ample time to go and find someone else. Isn't it a fair thing to do? Find someone else and just leave it at that? Because I don't think that it serves anyone for us to be talking about him and criticizing him in this. Because if you remember, didn't something similar happen with Alfred Duncan?
Yes.
Saying he was injured and couldn't come.
Yeah.
And the GFA making it like he rejected the call-up.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
Emphatically again, they never invited Alfred Duncan.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying? There's always these things happening. So it feels like sometimes the GFA should also take a stand and not try and make these things come out in the public, because there's players who reject call-ups all the time for various reasons in other countries, and it doesn't become a big case. You get what I'm saying?
I feel like most people feel that this Afena-Gyan thing is an issue because there is the element or unspoken, right? Nathan touched on it, of feeling entitled to being a Black Stars player and thinking that the under-23s are below his level.
Let me make a point here. I think that one, we need to. I thank the player for not coming. Yes.
Why?
Afena-Gyan did the right thing for not coming. Now, for me, I believe in one thing. If you're not committed to something, don't do it.
Okay.
If you're not committed to something,
if it is not in your heart to
don't
come,
do it.
Don't come.
So I think I laud the player for taking the decision, because clearly he was not in the right frame of mind. It would have been so sad if he had flown all the way from Italy, and then in the game against Algeria, he didn't give his 100%, or he doesn't give his 100%.
That's fair.
So once he knew that he was not going to give his 100% to the Black Meteors, I think that we need to laud him for not coming. Two, I think that everyone and how we agree, we accept issues,
rejection,
or how we process things. Some people take lengthy time to go over or to let things go. Others also take a very short time. Joseph Pencil will maybe take a very short time to process things and let it go. Afena-Gyan might take a longer time to let the things go. For me,
I think by the time you let it go, the teams have moved on from you.
So be it.
Once he has said personally that he's not available,
we should respect his decision.
Exactly. If it would take him even 6 more months for him to go through all this and then be okay for the Black Stars, we need to respect this. He's a very young player. I think that there's still more national team call-outs for him in future. He's not like a player who is in his maybe twilight of his career. He's a young lad. He is hurting, which is normal for every individual. He missed the World Cup. It makes sense for him to hurt. He can take as long as he wants to get over all this and come back.
Can I ask something?
100%.
Let me just...
If at the moment he is not ready to give Ghana 100%, he shouldn't come. And I think I agree with him on this.
Let me just say this before I get to coach finally. First and foremost, why is Afena-Gyan hurting? That's my first thing. Is it because he was invited to take part in the qualifiers or the last 2 games in Nigeria? Yeah. So on what form does he think that he was entitled to go to the World Cup? So on what form? Because if as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't even playing football.
I know.
You weren't even playing football.
The way we went
you barely have 5 career club goals.
Exactly.
So why is there? They didn't take me to the World Cup, so I'm upset.
It's about how we invited him to the Black Stars.
Then we are the problem.
Yeah. How we invited him. Because we made him didn't want to come. We made him feel like he was our all.
Yeah. You see,
we made him feel like he was
started comparing to Asam.
So how he invited him,
the new baby jet and things.
So if they basically went on a charm offensive to kind of convince him.
Exactly.
And then they went to got what we needed from him. Bye.
You see, You remember we did this program when there was a time where he should have been. In fact, the attempt to invite him was done first, and then even through his agent. This is not the first time. He said the boy he was not ready. He said I'm not ready.
He said, no.
Even before he made his debut.
Yes, he said I'm not ready.
No.
Then at that time we accepted it. Why are we not accepting it now? Why are we putting it out there, using your media people to make the boy look bad? Stop that.
This is my point.
Stop that.
It's so unnecessary.
No, you should stop these things. Stop that. In life, stop that.
We're making him look so
You see,
bad.
you see, this is a player. Look, take it or leave it. He contributed immensely. To get Ghana to the World Cup. Because I was in Kumasi. That game against Alata, home and away against Alata. No more.
You mean Alata?
Wakanago me home and away. We saw what AfenaGyan brought to the table. He was paid like any other player for that service. So again, I disagree with him thinking that he should have been at the World Cup at all costs. But if he looks at the fact that you could take an under-19 player, a player who was playing under-19 to under-19, because all player in the World Cup, Fatau Isayako, I still maintain he shouldn't have gotten anywhere closer to the team.
And that's why he's been dropped now, and we thank God.
You understand? Then you drop AfenaGyan. Like I said, he was dropped. Because even Joseph Pencil was dropped unlawfully. You understand? Because our most informed player was even dropped. So this is what I said the other day when my brother sat here with me. And I said that I want the FA people to understand that it is going to be a process. You remember I said it here? Why my general secretary wouldn't agree with me when I said, look, in case Joseph Pencil were to tell the FA, I am not ready. Let nobody go after him. I said it here. So the same thing can be applied to AfenaGyan. If you say, don't use your media people, because if we also say that we want to counter them, no more, it will not be easy. I'm telling you, if we want to counter them, the FA should show maturity. Because this boy, if we can help him get his career back on track, progress in the who stands to benefit?
The Black Stars.
The Black Stars, of course. Because I remember what I saw of him against Nigeria in Kumasi. That is the level he can get to. And then to his agent and to his people too. Look, we pray that you heal quick. The World Cup is gone. There's the AFCON tournament. There's the Olympics. There's another World Cup coming.
I'm just curious
Sit
to
the
see
boy down. You see,
the AFCON.
It's a family matter. When I said it's a family matter, look, Joseph Pencil, who came to do what he did last week, there was a family sitting, a whole family matter. Because you need people who got him to understand that when he was going to
let it go.
Those people who have to come in to psych him and prepare him for the game. The same thing, maybe the people in and around AfenaGyan are still hurting. But it is going to be a process. So my humble plea to the FA, that treat players in the manner like you are the father. You don't throw the players out there.
Fair enough.
Stop using your media people to misbehave.
Fair point.
And honestly, the under-23 AFCON won't be played at a key time of the season. It's played over the summer break.
Yes.
So for now, like I said, look, Cremonense have won like one game all season, right? They are doing their best to stay in Syria.
That could be a reason why he could say, look,
they are thinking
we are being taught new things. I don't want to move. I want to be part of it.
And look, if you're in a team like that, where all the top teams are going on, half the players are going,
and all your players are there.
It's a time you can get something done. So for me, if you think about his club career, it made sense to stay. That's just me looking from the outside. It's not like anyone has told me or anything. It just makes sense from the outside.
Especially when he comes, he walks straight into this team. He walks straight into the under-23.
And secondly, if you are not playing, you have to impress the coach in that time. Other people are also will impress the coach whilst you are gone. Yep. Your coach doesn't care what you do for under-22. He cares about staying in Syria. And the third thing is, if he still doesn't want to play in the tournament, that's when I feel like these questions about entitlement and these things can be raised. Because it's not a key time of the season unless he's hurt or something.
Or maybe by then he's not still recovered.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like
for me,
time will give
right
us
now
a lot of
it's
answers.
too early for us to start because in the middle of the season, this is a crucial part of the season. Certain players might not be as willing to play international football around this
see
time.
maturity view.
Yeah, how you invite the player and how you
really
how you dispose them.
I'm not ready. Don't expose the person out there. They brought it out. I'm
Fair enough.